everybody, Lord Tremendous here. I got a massive, huge battle report for you. A 7,000 point battle. Battle report number 26. It is I, Lord Tremendous of the Ogre Cons, versus Big Daddy of the Vampire Coven. And this game is huge. I don't know if you've looked at the time that it takes me to get through this battle report, but it's probably over an hour. I don't know. Right now, I'm currently at under a minute, so I think I'm doing all right. But no, by the time this is all said and done, I could easily see this being a 90-minute battle report. So literally, sit back, relax, and get ready to listen to my voice as I get you through all of this awesome. You're welcome. Here's my massive, huge, disgusting list. Obviously, starting off with my lords, I have a Great Khan as my general, Berserk. He's got the Blessed Sword, Hardened Shield, Talisman of Greater Shielding, Potion of Strength, and the Headhunter Big Name. This is a kit that I wanted to try out because I was toying with putting a Great Khan back into my main list, my 2,500 point list, and so this was a great opportunity to try out a kit, and I didn't squander it. And in case you didn't see in the background, that's the entire army minus the trappers. Next up, I have a Great Shaman, who's a level 4 wizard with the Beastbane Halberd and the Backlash Scroll, and I really like the idea of using the Backlash Scroll. And then my hero choices, only took 2 lords, are my Khan. He's my BSB, and he's got his normal kit. Flesh Render, Mithril Mail, Talisman of Lesser Shielding, and I put Rotten Jaw back on him, because I had 7,000 points to play with. Following them, I have my Shaman, Kaka Shabadu. He's a level 2 wizard in this one with Screaming Swords, the Demon Heart, Obsidian Pebble, and the Path of Butchery. I have yet another Shaman, the Combuster. He's a level 2 wizard with Skull Splitter, Path of Fire. No surprise there. And then my last couple of characters, I have a Mammoth Hunter on foot with a Iron Fist, an Ogre Crossbow, the Armor of Destiny, and Spin Splitter, and of course my main Mammoth Hunter, Lord Tremendous. He's got his Ogre Crossbow, Heart Ripper, Yeti Furs, Gem of Dragonfire. He's got the Troll Eater Big Name, and he's on his trusty Tusker, the War Teddy. And I'm looking forward to trying out an extra hunter, just because the one works so great. Why not one on foot, right? For my core choices, I have quite a few. If you want to look at the right side of the screen, there is a lot of meat on the table. I have a unit of 7 tribesmen with full command, Iron Fist, heavy armor, and the War Standard. That's the unit that my Great Khan will go into. Then I have another unit of 7 tribesmen, the Good Old Boys, with full command, Iron Fist, and heavy armor. And that's the unit that, my Khan is going to go into. I have another unit of 7 tribesmen, the Inner Council, with full command, Iron Fist, heavy armor. And that's the unit that I believe the Great Shaman is going to go into, or Kaka, I can't remember which. And yet another unit of 7 tribesmen with full command, Iron Fist, and heavy armor. Then I have a unit of 9 bruisers with full command, and in order to pay my full core tax, I put 50 scraplings in there with full command, short bows, and light armor. It's ridiculous. It's almost 2,000 points of core. For my special choices, I start off with a unit of 5 Scrappling Trappers, my favorite pets. You knew they were going to make an appearance. And they brought their cousins, a unit of 6 Scrappling Trappers and another unit of 5 Scrappling Trappers. And just because I want to try them out, I have a couple of Saber-Toothed Tigers, 1 each in 2 units. Then, of course, I have my 8 mercenary veterans, the Storm of Retribution, with Banner, Musician, Iron Fist, Lethal Strike, Thunderous Charge, and the Banner of Speed. So my normal Merc Vet unit and kit, just with 2 extra Merc Vets, they brought their friends. Oh man, if 6 was bad, 8 is going to be friggin' overpowered. Then I got another unit of 8 Merc Vets with Banner, Musician, the Brace of Ogre Pistols, Poison Attacks, +1 Ballistic Skill, and the Flaming Standard, because I just wanted to try the net version of these guys to see if they're really all what they're cracked up to be. And then I have a unit of 4 Tusker Cav with Banner, Musician, Great Weapons, Heavy Armor, and the Dragon Skin Banner. Because honestly, I really, really wish I could make Tusker Cav work for me, but a lot like Skull Crushers, I'm no good with them. I don't know what the problem is. And to round off my special choices, I have a unit of 8 Bombardiers with Banner Musician and the Banner of Courage, a unit of 5 Yetis with Unit Champion, and then I have 3 Kin Eaters with Lady Elizabeth being up front. Then, of course, I have a Scratapult and 2 Thunder Cannons. And yeah, just I'm bringing everything out that I can. And my rare choices. I, of course, have the obligatory Slave Giant, because I do like him, and I have the model, so I might as well use him. And then, of course, I have the real reason we've all come to watch his battle report. I have my Frost Mammoth, Rufus! And he's got his typical Ogre Crossbow ×2 kit out. And then I have another Frost Mammoth, Baby Rufus, with 2 Ogre Crossbows on the riders, and I brought back the Rock and I gave the rider a Lance, which pretty much completes my army. So yeah, as you can see, there's a ton. I don't think there's much, if anything, left out. And yeah, that's going to do it for my list. So I'm going to go ahead and post my opponent's list. I'm going to have it go a little bit slower since it's so friggin' much. And play some music, and you feel free to pause it whenever you want if you want to see what he took. Alright, here are my spells, which are exactly what you're looking at. And alright, here's deployment. And yeah, honestly, at first I had tactics. I was like, alright, so the Yetis are going to go in the middle, shoot forward because the Vanguard, and then the Merc Vets behind them are going to be able to march up and get into this fight by round 2. Woohoo! Then I started placing stuff, and I started realizing that I was going to run out of table before I ran out of units, and that's what ends up happening. I have on the left flank on the hill, I put my 50 scraplings with bows just to give me an 18-inch bubble of I effing dare you. There's a thunder cannon right behind it to shoot away anything big, mostly the shrieking horrors. Those are just terrifying. I have just a plain unit of tribesmen near them frost with a frost mammoth behind it, the baby one, not Rufus, just to shoot up there and kind of defend them. I got my trappers in the forest on the left, the house on the right, and the smaller house on the far right, just to give them 12-inch, shooting ability and stuff like that. So that's something. It's a start. In the ruins, I threw my bruisers with my BSB in there just because I had nowhere else to put them and I wanted them centrally-ish located. There's a saber tusk in there as well. And then, of course, I have just tribesmen with my BSB in the middle. Rufus right behind them. The Storms of Retribution are behind the proxied Yetis, which are like the brown-looking skirmish unit in the center. Next to them is another unit of tribesmen with my great shaman. Behind them is the slave giant. Next to them is the other unit of merc vets with the poisoned, flaming brace of pistols. And in front of them, of course, is my other saber-tooth tiger. Next to them is another unit of tribesmen with Kaka Shaba doing it. Behind them is the most terrifying rock you will ever see in your life. There is a closer-up picture to it later, and it really is terrifying. And then on the hill on the right there, I have Lord Tremendous, and he's got a Scratapult behind him, and a Thunder Cannon, that's a little bombardier on the chariot base. And of course, I have the other Shaman, the little green model with wings, next to them on the hill. In reserves, I have the Bombardier unit, and I have the Tusker Cavalry unit because I had nowhere else to put them on the table. So that's deployment. Holy crap. This is my opponent's right flank, and he had just as much trouble as I did. He's got a couple of unit of 60-man unit of zombies in reserves, 2 or 3, I can't remember how many. So from left to right, he's got Vampire Spawn, Direwolves, unit of Bat Swarm. To our left of the Bat Swarm is his first Shrieking Horror. Behind them is a Vampire Lord, a Vampire Courtier, Barrow Knights. In front of them is a unit of Wraiths, I think. Next to them is a huge unit of Skeleton Warriors. Behind them is a Necromancer and a Cadaver Wagon. And then that big thing is that altar or something like that. I don't remember exactly what they're called. Some undead altar that pulses and everything like that. Gives everything within 12 inches of it like regen. It's crazy. Here's my opponent's center. Again, from left to right. In the back there is a unit of zombies with his Vampire Lord in there, Nosferatu, so he's not coming out to fight. In front of him is a unit of 4 Vampire Knights. Next to them are a bunch of Barrow Guard, the infantry guys. Behind them is another huge unit of Skeleton Warriors. I believe those warriors have halberds and the other warriors have spears, or I might have it reversed, I can't remember. Of course, there's another Shrieking Horror. Behind that is the plain old Cadaver Wagon, and next to them is a massive unit of zombies. And my opponent's left flank. He's got a unit of Banshees. The hero choice characters, he's got 5 of them. I think they're butt naked, each and every one of them. But there's 5 of them, and they all got that crazy screaming thing going on for them. In front of them is a Varkalak or something like that, whatever it is now. Behind them is the 3rd Shrieking Horror. Then, of course, there is a unit of 6 Spirit Host Swarm guys. Another unit of Bat Swarm behind them. Excuse me, some ghouls next to them, and in front another massive unit of wraiths. So I have a lot of ethereal to deal with and not a lot of magical attacks to do it with. Outstanding! Here's my right flank, and I did try getting rid of this in my smaller games, but in this game I feel the need to go over all the units and where they're placed, just so you have an idea, or at least the possibility of an idea of what the hell is going on in this game. Up top in the houses, you can see on the left house my trappers are in there, and on the right house my other unit of trappers is in there. And then from right to left, the little green model is the Mammoth Hunter on foot. Next to him is Lord Tremendous. Behind him on the right there is the Stratapult. Next to him with the little Bombardier on the chariot base is a Thunder Cannon. Then, of course, I have Tribesmen with Kakashabadu. Behind him is the Rock-a-Rock. Then the next unit is Mercenary Vets with brace of Ogre Pistols. In front of them is one of these saber-toothed tigers, and next to them is a unit of tribesmen with my Great Shaman installed. Right here in the center, from right to left, that unit of brown-looking ogres are my proxied Yetis, because neither of us own any of those models. Behind them are my mercenary vets, the Storms of Retribution. In the middle is the other unit of tribesmen with my proxied Great Khan in there. And real quick, I have heard the complaints and I understand, and so I am slowly but surely converting all my Age of Sigmar models over to actual ogre models. They won't be GW ogre models because, to be honest with you, GW doesn't support the 9th Age, so I'm going to go and I'm going to get models that I like from other modeling companies that are actually ogre so there you go. Over the next few months, I'm slowly going to convert everything over, and then everybody can be happy again. So awesome. The aesthetics will be great. So yeah. Behind the Khan's unit is Rufus, and then to the right there, you can't see him, but there is another saber-toothed tiger inside the ruins. And then, of course, those are my bruisers with... Oh, no, yeah, with my Khan in there. I'm sorry, the unit of tribesmen in the middle has my Great Khan in there. So yes, Khan is actually in with the bruisers inside the ruins. And on my left flank, I have the baby Frost Mammoth over there. In front of them, I have a unit of just, tribesmen with no character. I'm sorry, there is my other saber-toothed tiger. Not even I know what the hell's going on in this game. Behind him is my second Thunder Cannon, and then, of course, there's a unit of 50 scraplings with short bows. So here we go, top of one after movement, and as you can see, everything came forward. My Yetis did come forward, their 12-inch Vanguard, and then they moved 7 inches right where they were, and they stopped in the water, because you can't march once you touch the water. You can't march at all if you're going to touch water. So they stopped right where they're at, and they're more of a sacrificial unit. If something that's too scary tries to get a hold of them, I'll flee. Anything else, I dare you to come in there, because everything else is going to countercharge you, even if you kill the stupid Yetis and then murder its face. And I'm willing to sacrifice Yetis for that because I'm not a huge fan of Yetis. Lord Tremendous moves up his full movement, 16 inches, right up the right side there. His job is to get into all that chaff and ethereal up there and just murder face it as quick as he can. Kakashabadu moves up with his tribesman on the right there to get in the range for his spells, with a Rock backing him up because he's frenzied. I don't want him going too crazy, but at the same time, I also want that threat there just in case something gets around him or whatever. Everything else literally just moves up as much as it can, with the exception on the right flank where the tribesmen just move up enough to get close to the water. They don't go into the water because they had to march to get there. Baby Rufus moves up to help out. And in the ruins, I know it looks like my bruisers are off the table, but my BSB and my other bruiser are marking exactly where they are up in front of the ruins there. The scraplings with the short bows move up because they only have an 18-inch range, and I want them to lock down the left flank as best they can, so they move up just so that their bubble is a little bit more threatening. That's it for movement. During the magic phase, the only spell I get off is regen on my general's unit. So we go into shooting, and I fire the first ever Thunder Cannon in one of my armies. I hit the Shrieking Horror and do 3 wounds to it. I was very pleased, I'm not going to lie, kind of like Thunder Cannons. Then the Stratapult fires. I was aiming for the Bat Swarm, and as you can see, it deviated 6 inches and hit the ghouls directly. I was aiming for the our back left Bat Swarm. And it deviated 6 inches and nails the ghouls. That isn't exactly where it hit. It was just placed there for the picture. Just in case you're like, that angle doesn't look right. You're absolutely right. It's not right. But we measured correctly, and I hit a whole bunch of the ghouls. And even though it's only strength 3, I'm able to take out 7 of the little bastards, which is really good. I'm pleased with that. He doesn't really have any casters over there that he's going to be able to pick them all up with, so there's a very good chance with a little concentrated fire I'll never have to see those guys in combat. That is everything that happens in my turn. I know, you would expect more. So did I. So we go over here to bottom of one after movement, and he's undead, so he's a little more cautious than I am. His Vampire Swarm move up fast and furious. They get up right near the forest there and stop. And the rest of his stuff just kind of shuffles. Nothing overly fast or aggressive or anything like that. In fact, the Shrieking Horror that I hit with a cannonball last turn falls back to get near his casters so that he can try to heal it back up. The rest of the Shrieking Horrors, the one on the left flank stays behind a hill so I can't see it. The one in the middle stays conservatively back. He's not falling for any of my BS. And then, of course, everything on our right flank, all the undead on our right flank, they get stuck in the water. So it really buys me time. And that's good because I have more magic and shooting to do against them. But yeah, not a whole lot to really describe in movement. During the magic phase, he gets Invocation off and raises a bunch of skeletons and Borrow Guard or whatever the dangerous infantry that he has. It raises a decent amount of infantry, and I think it is even able to heal a wound off of his Shrieking Horror. So I did stop some of his other spells, but that particular spell I just couldn't do anything about. Then he gets Dance Macabre off over here. I think it's Dance Macabre. It looks like it. And I don't remember exactly why. Nothing moves. I think it was just to get the spell off in order to try to heal a wound off of the Shrieking Horror. I'm not 100% on that one. So that's everything for my opponent's turn. So we go over here to top of 2 after movement, and there is some. After a little bit of debate, I said screw it, and I charge my tribesmen into the vampire spawn. It's been a long time since I fought vampire spawn, so I couldn't remember everything, and we kind of play closed lists and stuff like that, and it feels like cheating for me to ask my opponent what they've got, if they're any good, blah, blah, blah. I know there's nothing wrong with asking. I'm a putz. So the tribesmen charge, and they have to take dangerous terrain when they go through the forest because the damn trappers are in there, and trappers don't discriminate. Everybody's a bad guy. So I end up losing one of my tribesmen in the charge, but I do make it, and that's huge. Everything else just kind of moves up towards the water's edge. I don't know why my opponent's not coming forward, but at the same time, I'm not overly concerned about it. It's like, well, okay, you're just giving me more time. So everything, as you can see, pretty much comes up to the water's edge, with the exception of the Yetis. They back up a little bit because I didn't like where his middle Shrieking Horror was. That son of a gun could charge him and then overrun, and then I'd be in all kinds of trouble. The only other thing worth noting, really, in the movement phase is Lord Tremendous, for the first time since I've been using him, failed his stupidity check and stumbled forward a few inches. So that's why he's sitting right there and is not right up in the face of the Wraiths, daring them to charge him. So, bummer. Everything else moves up, just getting ready to magic shoot or whatever. The other thing that's worth noting is the Tusker Cav come onto the table out of reserves on the right flank there, and the Bombardiers come in behind the ruins there on the left flank. That's pretty much it for movement. There's a better picture of my tribesmen slamming into the vampire swarm guys or whatever they are. And that's awesome. It sucks I lost one, but hey, at least I'm in there. And there's a better picture of Lord Tremendous failing his first stupidity check. That's not quite as awesome. Then my Scratapult fires, and again, I aim for the damn bats, and I miss, kind of. I miss the bats, but I end up nailing the Spirit Hosts and the Varkalak, or whatever they're called now. I'm going to say Varkalak because that's the word I can pronounce, and I kind of like saying it. Varkalak, Varkalak, Varkalak. Okay, I'm over it. Anyway, so yeah, I hit a couple of the Spirit Hosts, and I hit the Varkalak, which is, it's Strength 3, Lethal Strike, but it's still kind of cool. Unfortunately, due to the toughness and ethereal ward save, it does no damage. So we go over here, and I fire a cannon at Mr. Shrieking Horror, and I punch it in the nose, doing a solid wound. I think it was a cannon. No, it might have been Rufus. Rufus shot his Ogre Crossbows at this guy and did a wound, so that was excellent. Then over here, my trappers in the forest there throw all their crap at the direwolves and kill all but one, and that's just outstanding. And so we go into combat. Man. This little unit of tribesmen rips apart the vampire swarm. I rolled really well. I did. They have no saves of any kind, and yeah. After combat res and everything like that, he's got 2 left. 1 has a wound on him. I ended up losing 1 tribesman. I took 4 wounds. He took a ton. So, yeah, my tribesmen are doing exceptionally well against these vampire guys that I was actually very afraid of at first. So with that combat resolved, we go over here to bottom of 2 after movement. And the undead move a little bit. Not a ton. The race on the right flank charge the stupid Lord Tremendous and make it. He's got the Heart Ripper. He's got magical attacks. I think he can hold his own. These things aren't armor, no armor saves or anything like that. They're not AP6. But he's got his work cut out for him, so I'm a little nervous about that. Other than that, the rest of his stuff moves forward, trying to get through the water. None of his stuff is overly fast, so when he hits the water, he pretty much stops. On the left flank there, it's kind of a traffic jam. For the most part, he's just trying to readjust, maybe open up his ranks and stuff like that so that he can get into me a little bit more on his terms. And then in the back, I forgot 2 out of my 3 kin eaters show up. Lady Elizabeth did not show up. The other 2 show up, and they're putting a lot of pressure on his necromancer, on the cadaver wagon, and the undead altar back there. So one of his shrieking horrors moves to scream at one, and the other, the undead altar thing, moves over to pulse at him and possibly even take a charge in the front. So it's pretty good movement, I guess, compared to the last turn, but it's still not significant in my opinion. There's a better picture of the race taking advantage of tremendous stupidity. Oh, yeah, and there's a better picture of the other unit, the unit of Banshees charging into the house that my favorite pets are in, my trappers. That's really bad. The trappers do not have magical attacks. They do have mortal coils, which will shortly be shuffled off, but it is what it is. Oh man, I missed everything. Here's a better picture of the Vampire Knights charging my unit of trappers in the forest. I did not flee because I wanted them to take DT tests when they hit the forest. I stood, shot, and really messed up their shields. Let me tell you, I messed up his armor. They make all their saves. And but when they ran into the forest, one of the Vampire Knights did die due to DT tests, which is huge. A quarter of the unit died. Wonderful. And then right here, the Saber Spider right there got charged by the Spirit Host Swarm, and it fled and made it away. It did fly through the, the tribesmen there, but it's insignificant, so they didn't care. That or they passed their check. I can't remember which. Either way, we're all good. During the magic phase, my opponent gets, I think, Dance Macabre off on the Undead Altar, and it moves up to block my Kin Eater's charges on, well, the unpainted one, the metal model. I guess neither of them were painted. The metal model on the back there, it blocks its charge into the Cadaver Wagon with the Necromancer, which sucks. That was really my target. And, of course, he heals a wound off the Shrieking Horror with that spell, with the lore attribute or whatever. And then he gets another spell off on him. I think he gets to reroll to wound with this one. I can't remember which spell it was. And honestly, I let that one go because I was like, you know what? It's not going to matter if I get into combat with this thing or not. And he gets to reroll its wounds. Whatever. And, of course, use the lore attribute for the last time on this guy this turn to heal yet another wound on him. During the shooting phase, the stupid friggin' Shrieking It screams at my Kin Eater that could have charged a Cadaver Wagon and explodes it all over the place, and that sucks. And then we go into combat. It's not overly impressive. I do 2 wounds to him, he does no wounds to me. He charged, I did 2 wounds, I win by 1. He has a wound put on one of the other wraiths, and we sit in combat. I'm pretty happy about that just because Tremendous didn't break, run, and get run down. And my opponent rolled like crap in order to hit wounds. So I'm hoping that if he keeps that up, Tremendous can beat his way out of this. That would be nice. Over here, however, the Trappers do not fare well against the Banshees. They have this like D3+1 Scream attack that they can do. I think my trappers got to attack before they got to do it, and needless to say, the banshees didn't take any wounds because they're ethereal, and trapper claws don't do all that great. They did their D3 plus 5 like hits on these guys, whatever it was, and murder the entire unit. Just absolutely nothing I could do. And once the trappers got moved out, the banshees moved back in. It's a very nice house, I understand. Then over here, shockingly enough, the vampire knights were able to kill all of my trappers in the forest. I was stunned, I really was. The vampire knights reform like so afterwards to face whatever charges might be coming their way. And then in combat with the tribesmen versus the vampire swarms, the vampire swarm guys were able to do like one more wound to my unit, just epic flub. And in return, the tribesmen beat them to death, which is awesome. Really, really awesome. And just to give you a little perspective, my tribesmen, the front rank is actually on the other side of that tree, facing that direction. That tree doesn't get removed. It can't be removed from that piece of terrain, so that's why they're there instead of where they actually are. So here we go. We're at top of 3, and I make my move. Or I make a move, however you want to see it. I end up charging the wraiths in the middle of the table with my yetis and with my general's unit. Only the general's really going to have any hope of doing anything to these guys. However, with all the combat res and hopefully attacks getting some ones for his ward save get through, I can pop this unit and then overrun into those 2 big units of skeletons. If not, and the skeletons come into the yetis and the tribesmen, I'm going to do a ton of combat res, pop everything, and walk away a little dusty, but the victor. So I charged in there. My bruiser unit with my con charged into the vampire knights because, in my opinion, they're the only ones that are going to be able to pop that unit with any real consistency. My merc vets are too far out of the way, and I needed something with high strength to crack armor. The problem is I take a boatload of dangerous terrain checks and take, I think, 6 or 7 wounds going through there. That sucks. So I lose 2 bruisers before the fight even starts. Luckily, it wasn't enough for a panic check, but man, 6 wounds. That hurt. And then my other unit of tribesmen, fresh off their victory against the vampire swarm guys, slam into the bat swarm that's in front of the barrow knights. And the plan there is to hold the bat swarm there long enough to just keep those knights out of the fight. That was really what I was thinking there. On the right flank, Tremendous still in fight with the Wraith, so there's nothing I can do there. The tribesmen with Kaka are perfectly situated right where they are to just have fun and shoot magic stuff at whatever, because I didn't think to give my other hunter any magical attacks. The Mournfang Cav are completely in a terrible position. I've got nowhere to put them, so they move up a little bit, and I'm at a loss what to do with them. My Rock-a-Rock, I forgot, fails his frenzy check and charges the house full of banshees. So, yay, my rider's going to be able to do nothing. Nothing at all. That sucked. I didn't even realize he could see the house until I was like, oh yeah, shoot. So I take a frenzy check and he fails and charges the house. So awesome. And everything else just kind of moves up. The Merc Vets move up to the Storm Retribution ones move up to the river's edge to countercharge anything that charges the Yetis or my tribesmen. And the other unit of Merc Vets move up as well as Rufus and the Combustor to get pot shots at whatever they can shoot at. Meanwhile, the Bombardiers and the Ruins move up a little bit further, just 6 inches, so that they can also get some shots eventually before this game is over. That's really it for movement. There's a better picture of my bruisers making their charge into the vampire cav, as well as my general's unit and the Yetis. They do get in there. I just took this picture before I moved them. In there, as you can see, 6 ones out of all the dice I rolled. Kind of sucked. Oh yeah, here's a better picture of my one remaining King Eater. Lady Elizabeth did not show up at all. He charges into the Undead Altar because why not? If I didn't charge it, it was going to charge me. I had no other recourse really to go with because otherwise the Shrieking Horde is just going to scream him off the table. So he went into the altar. Might as well try. And there's a better picture of my Bruiser unit slamming into the Vampire Knights, as well as my Tribesman unit slamming into the Bat Swarm. And I did forget my Tribesman. I lost one. I took a couple of wounds charging through the forest. It's dangerous terrain. What can you do? There you go. There's a better picture of the Yetis getting in there as well. Why did I charge the Yetis in? I just wanted the extra attacks. You know, they were just sitting there doing nothing, Yetiing. Oh well. And there's a better picture of my Rock slamming into the house because he's tired of waiting, even though he can't do anything in this combat. During the magic phase, the combustor gets a 2 or 3d6 fireball off on this damn shrieking horror, and only one wound is caused. I didn't roll any sixes. I rolled like 1 6. It wasn't enough to be anything significant. Could have went the other way, real easy, but it decided not to. So 1 wound, I guess, is better than none. During the shooting phase, once again, my Scratapult fires away at the big unit of zombies because I just wanted to start, lowering those numbers because eventually I'm going to have to collect those points and it'll be easier if there's not 5,000 to deal with. And it deviates. It goes 6 inches down and to the right or up and to the left, however you want to look at it, and ends up skimming a couple of his I think he does 1 wound or 1 hit to the shrieking horror there in the middle, and maybe I hit like 1 other thing. Long story short, no wounds are caused, but the Scratapult's hitting by accident, and that's awesome. And then my hunter, the nameless one, shoots at the Varkalak or whatever it is, and does a wound to it. Slips it right past his regen save, which was awesome. So we go into combat, and yeah, my general hits and wounds, I think 5 times, which is glorious, and is able to destroy 2.5 of these things, and then impact hits and everything else. My opponent rolled way more ones than I was expecting, and in the end, I think I lost a Tribesman in return and a Yeti. I lost 1 from each unit, and he's down to like 2 of the, Wraiths or whatever. And yeah, I didn't pop the unit, but it's as good as dead. So now, even though I'm going to get countercharged by a unit of Skeleton Warriors, if not both of them, I feel pretty good about my odds of dealing with this unit. I'm very, very pleased with this. It wasn't perfect, but it was pretty damn close. Over here, oh, baby. It was awesome. So the spider gets into the fight, right? He actually is the one that took the wound from dangerous terrain, not the unit of bruisers. They only took 6. The spider, since he's a war beast, did take a dangerous terrain check because the trappers were in there. Took a wound, but he's fine. And he actually slipped a couple of wounds through taking out a vampire knight all by himself. And then my con and my bruisers weathered the knight's attacks back. They actually flubbed spectacularly, and they myrtleized the rest of the unit. It was just so many attacks back, and that couldn't have gone any better. My Saber-Tooth Tiger ends up overrunning into the Direwolf, and the bruisers with my con reform. Combat over here goes really well. My Tribesmen, even needing 5 as a hit, are able to obliterate the Bat unit with combat res and everything else. They don't really take any damage in return, and I figured, okay, that wasn't exactly the plan. I figured the Bat Swarm would still be there. Turns out that my Tribesmen are ninjas and destroy all the bats, and I'm like, well, damned if I do, damned if I don't. I overrun and slam into the Barrow Knights, however you want to pronounce it. We all know how smart of a move that is, but it was either I charge them or they charge me. I decided to be the aggressor. Then over here, the Kin Eater does nothing to the altar, and in return takes 2 wounds. You know what? I'm spoiled with Lady Elizabeth. This imposter disgusts me. And then combat right here, the Rock is a mount. Cannot take part of the combat whatsoever. So my happy little rider swings his 3 attacks, does 2 wounds, and both get through. My opponent rolls snake eyes. I don't know how many times I have to say it. Better lucky than good. In return, nothing gets kicked back at me. So yeah, charge and 2 wounds. I win by 3. So another one pops and one's carrying a wound. That could not have gone any better. I mean, honestly. And then right here, Tremendous beats this unit within an inch of its unlife or half-life, whatever you want to call it. Takes no wounds in return, and as you can see, there's like 4 left, one of which is carrying a wound. This is going well over here. So now we go over here to bottom of 3 after movement, and there's a little bit. As you can see, his Burrow Guard, the infantry guys, slam into the flank of my Yetis. Other than that, let's see. His big unit of zombies in the middle right there, I guess, tried to charge my tribesmen through the water and did not make it. I would have loved that because his ranks would have been useless and I could have taken 16 to 20 just with combat res, and that didn't work out. I think that's pretty much it. The Spirit Host charge into the house with my trappers, and well, that's not going to go well for them at all. And other than that, everything else just kind of moves around a little bit. Not a whole hell of a lot, really. Yeah, I mean, you're looking at it. I wish there was more to talk about, but there really isn't. There's a better picture of a Spirit Host slamming into the trappers inside of the house, and they're screwed. And there's a better picture of the zombies trying to charge into my tribesmen and failing. Probably deep water or something like that. And there's a better picture of the Burrow Knights slamming into the flank of my Yetis. It's not good. It's not good at all. However, hopefully this works out. We will see. It was a gamble. I knew it when I did it, so we'll see. During the magic phase, he gets that Steal You spell off on the General's Tribesman unit, and I'm fine with that because I'm trying to stop a lot of other spells. He needs 6 to hurt me. My magic phase has been friggin' useless all game, so I figured I'll just try to dispel it next turn. I'll let this one go off. I know he's going to heal a wound off of one of the Shrieking Horrors. There's nothing I can do about that, but at least it's only 1 wound from him and not a bunch of wounds from every unit within 6, 12, or 18 inches of the caster. So Steel Youth goes off and does like maybe a wound to this unit. Nothing big. So in order to cast that spell, he used 4 dice. I didn't really care about it going off because I'm more worried about his other spells. So what I did, because he has a 12 dice magic phase here, I know you don't know that, but now you do. I used the Backlash Scroll. I was very excited about it. So the spell goes off, he gets all the glory, and then he has to suffer a miscast because that's what the Backlash Scroll does. Spell goes off, but they cast that, or on a miss, they have to roll the miscast chart. So he ends up rolling a miscast 7, which honestly just ends up culling a handful of the zombies. The general doesn't take any damage, just the zombies do. But they all take a wound, and it really, what it did was it took 4 more dice away from him. So a 4-cast spell cost 8, he only had 4 left, and that's pretty good. That's pretty good. For a 55-point spell to cull a 12-dice magic phase, I think it's points well spent. So we go into combat, and Tremendous decimates the rest of the race. He took out that whole unit without taking 1 wound himself, which is exactly what this character's supposed to do. He's my anti-chaff character. I love this guy. So now all the wraiths are dead, which is outstanding. It frees him up to go after these spirit hosts, which are currently mutilating my trappers. And just like we all knew was going to happen, we go into the combat with the Spirit Host against the Trappers, and they kill 3 of them. He actually rolls really poorly. My Trappers don't do anything in return and break and flee out of the house. Spirit Host can't pursue, so instead, over here, the Banshees are a little pissed off about losing 2 of their friends last turn. So they swing back with their voices, with their vocal cords of doom, and they are able to do 3 wounds to the Rock, which is not cool if you're on my end of the table, but super cool if you're on my opponent's. Luckily for me, I believe the Rock is stubborn. I'm almost 100% on that. And he makes his check. Otherwise, this probably got out of hand pretty quick. So yeah, we're stuck in combat here. And then we go over here. And basically we trade units. My general and the tribesmen are able to finish off the wraiths. In return, my Yetis get face stomped by the Barrow Guard, whatever. They are only able to kill 2 before they just get decimated. And now this is a win-loss type of thing. So he did like 12 wounds, charged, and all that stuff. Multiple ranks, banner. However, once the Yetis were destroyed, and I'm almost 100% I did this right, or we did this right, we did look at the rules, the Yetis are dead. There's no way to push these guys forward because it's a separate unit. So, and they would have ran into the race or whatever. So they're out of combat. So the ranks and the charge and advantage stuff that doesn't affect this combat anymore. Now it's just the combat res, which was still a very significant 12 wounds. I did a little bit of damage to his race or whatever, and I think I needed a 5 to stand after all was said and done. I think it was like a 4 or 5 to stand, and I actually made it on my first roll. So, luckily for me, my general's unit stands, and that's huge. So now that he's out of combat, my opponent just kind of reforms like so. And I lied. There is, I think, one more wraith left with like a wound left on him. So it's not significant, but he is still there and he is still holding me in place. So that kind of sucks. In combat over here, my Sabertusk has no problem taking... I'm sorry, Sabertooth Tiger has no problem taking out his Direwolf, which wasn't a shock at all. And then he turns to face the Necromancer on the Cadaver Wagon. I didn't know what this damn tiger was going to be able to do against it, but he's the only one in position to charge one of his casty characters, and the less casters a vampire coven player has, the better. So he turns to look that way and hopefully do some damage to this damn necromancer. And then here, this stupid-ass Kin Eater is just not doing anything to this altar. Not because the altar's making it saves, but because the Kin Eater can't find a sweet spot or anything. Just generic-ass Kin Eater. In return, the altar is able to slip yet another wound through on this piece of garbage. Win this combat, but he's unbreakable, so he's sticking there. I really miss Lady Elizabeth. She's too good to me. And this combat here, holy crap. So my tribesmen slam into these guys, right? And they're like, yeah, we took out vampire spawn. Yeah, we took out bat swarms. Holy shit, Barrow Knights with a vampire lord installed. And we get the crap beat out of us. I do 1 wound to the entire unit. You can kind of see it in the back there. He kills off all but one. I lose this combat so triumphantly, I auto-break. So the Barrow Knights decide, my opponent decides not to pursue with the Barrow Knights. He doesn't want to be charged, doesn't want to be counter-charged, doesn't want to be out of position, all that other stuff. So he lets the tribemen flee, which is good because he only fled about 3 inches, as you can see. 3 or 4 inches, I can't remember exactly how many, but it was very short. He would have caught me no problem. And instead he decides to stay right there because he's happy with that position. And who am I to argue? So we go over here to top of 4. And I'm like, all right, well, I got all these Barrow Knight things to deal with. I'm worried about them. I better send in the troops. So I charge with Rufus. I charge with my my mercenary vets, the good ones, my usual kit out, just 8 instead of 6, and my giant. Well, as you can see, Rufus and my merc vets make it. My giant stumbles over his own incompetence, and it is what it is. Baby Rufus moves up into the water. The tribesman that lost against the Barrow Knights continues to flee, and who can blame him? I need a 4 to rally him, and it's just not going to happen the way I see it. My bruisers were going to charge the skeleton unit in front of them. However, after checking, my bruisers with my BSB could see the Barrow Knights, and I thought if anyone was going to be able to crack that armor, it's going to be these guys. They cracked the Vampire Knights, why not the Barrow Knights, right? So I charge in there, and they make it, and that's something. And I think that's it for charges. Oh yeah, Lord Tremendous goes into the house with the Spirit Host because he wants to be an exorcist and he's going to give it a shot. As well as my Mammoth Hunter on foot that was next to my next to Kaka's unit over there on the right flank. He charges, what's it called? The Varkalak or whatever it is, and makes that charge. You can kind of see him in the courtyard of the 3 houses there up against the walls. So that's cool. What's also kind of neat is the Scrappling Trappers that got kicked out of the house by the Spirit Host last turn rallied on a 2. I rolled Snake Eyes for them. They were good to go. No, I don't think they needed, let's do 4, 6. No, they didn't need, they weren't at half leadership yet, but they rallied, and that's absolutely outstanding. It saves me like 20 points. Woohoo! Or 40 or whatever the hell it is. So, yeah. Other than that, for movement, the bombardiers continue moving through the ruins the best they can. You can see them up front where they are. My thunder cannon on the left is in good position to shoot at the green shrieking horror. The other guys on the hill on the right flank there are in good position to shoot at whatever. And yeah, we're into the thick of it now. And yet again, Lady Elizabeth does not come on the field. There's been a picture of Rufus and the gang slamming into the Barrow Knights, or Barrow Guard. I think that's what they're called. I'm not 100%. There is I don't think it's a vampire. It might be a baby vampire in there. I can't remember, but I completely forget about him the entire time. There's a better picture of my bruiser slamming into the Barrow Knights, and you can't see it in this picture, and that's my fault, but the saber-tooth tiger did charge that necromancer on the cadaver cart. He had to get out of the way of the bruiser's charge, and he made it, so you can't see him, but he's in there. Trust me, I wouldn't lie to you. Well, I wouldn't lie to you about this. And there's a better picture of Lord Tremendous slamming into the house to exorcise all the spirit host, and the Mammoth Hunter slamming into the Varkalath to hopefully destroy the damn thing before it can do any damage. And there's a better picture of the little trappers rallying, and that's just hilarious. And there's the tribesman just running for his very soul. Oh, and I completely forgot. There's the saber-tooth tiger that fled from the Varkalath charge, or the Spiritos charge earlier in the game. He actually rallied right there at the board's edge. We used the entire table, just in case you're wondering. But yeah, he actually rallied right there on my magic card. Good for him. That was awesome. Nothing happens in the magic phase. I have like 3 power dice, and he channels 1, so he just stops my spells no problem. So we go straight into shooting, and once again, I was aiming for the zombies on the top of the screen, and the Scratapult deviated perfectly to hit the zombies at the bottom of the screen. So I don't know whether to be thrilled with this damn thing or disgusted with it. I'm really not sure. After all is said and done, I was only able to kill 10. I hit like 30 zombies. I killed 10. Not the best dice rolling in the world. I was about 5 short of what I should have rolled, but 10 less zombies in the world. 10 less zombies I have to deal with. Who am I to complain? So then we go into combat, and Lord Tremendous is able to kill, I think, 2 bases, and there's 3 wounds on another one after combat res. They're not able to do anything to him because he's got kryptonite armor on. You're just not going to hurt him, and it's glorious. I mean, they're strength 3. They're not going to get past a 2-up, 5-up very easily unless the dice gods decide that I just need to eat it. And the dice gods like Lord Tremendous. What can I tell you? In combat over here, the Mammoth Hunter, I think, is able to put 2 wounds on the Varkalath. He had 1 from earlier, and in return he gets 1. I win this combat by a decent amount. I think maybe I did 1 in a wound, and he did a wound, so I win by 1, and he's at 3 wounds now. So he's still alive, but only relatively so, which is good, which is really good. Combat over here, instead of fighting, they decide to have a conversation, homeowner association, talking with the guys that are trying to move in. They didn't come to any terms, but at least they had a good dialogue, and I guess that's important, because nothing else frickin' happens. So just massive whiff fest over here. But over here, brutal. I don't even mind telling you, I was able to decimate and destroy this unit. I think there's 2 models left. I think there's 2 Barrow Guard left. I think that's what they're called. I lose 3 Merc Vets, and 1's taking a wound for my trouble. Rufus, Teflon baby, nothing stuck to him because he's my boy. Love you, Rufus. But yeah, just destroyed that unit. And I decided not to overrun with Rufus because, well, I was nervous that if I put him out there and he got all alone into the skeletons, that would be really, really bad. I wasn't 100%. I didn't want to take the chance. But yes, there's like 2 of those little elite skeleton warriors left, and that's awesome. Combat over here, yeah, my general is able to finish off the last couple of, wraiths, and we just kind of hang out. My unit champion took a little bit of damage because at the end of the magic phase, I forgot about, the soul leech, whatever it is, soul sucker, whatever, the curse of year spell. And it's multiple wounds too on Monsters Infantry. I did not realize that, so my unit champion is almost dead, and the unit is hurt a little bit, and I gotta remember to get rid of that damn spell next turn. But at least the wraiths are dead. And then right here, glorious, just absolutely glorious. I challenge with my BSB, and unfortunately his unit champion takes it. So I slaughter his unit champion. I do like 3 or 4 wounds to him. The unit, I popped Rotten Jaw, and as you can see, the unit took out 6 of the guys. There is 7 up there. One's unit champion. Work with me here. In return, I think I lose a guy. Maybe a guy in a wound, not much. I win this combat I'm sorry, it wasn't 6 wounds, but after everything is said and done, the unit champion and 6 guys are dead. Unit's still there. Yes, there's a Shrieking Horror on my flank, but I think I'm going to be okay. Comment over here is actually kind of hilarious. The saber-toothed tiger was able to destroy the cadaver wagon, did 3 wounds to it, and I think it had 4 total. It took nothing in return, and combat res blew up the character. So my little 40-point saber-toothed tiger took out a character on a cadaver wagon. I'm really starting to think I need to bring these guys on my 2,500-point list. And then over here, it's a flub fest. I don't hurt him, he doesn't hurt me, but the Kin Eater, generic piece of garbage that he is just really Lady Elizabeth would have already killed this thing by now and been helping me take out the Barrow Knights. Just so incredibly disappointed. So yeah, that's it for top of 4. So we go over here to bottom of 4 after movement, and the Skeleton Warriors make their move. The ones on the left charge into my General's unit. The ones on the right charge into my Man-Eaters. He's got his Shrieking Horror on the left flank charging into the flank of my Bruisers. We all knew that was going to happen. His Ghouls on the right flank try to charge into Lord Tremendous and fail, which is really good. And for the rest of his movement phase, he, first off, he pulsed with the damn altar at strength 4 and was able to pop both the saber-toothed tiger and the generic man-eater, or I'm sorry, kin-eater. That's how pathetic that thing was. And then it moves up just a little bit. His Shrieking Horror, the white and red one, moves into the middle to scream at Rufus, and all I got to say about that is it better effing kill me, because if not, Rufus is going in and he's going to just murder face that thing. His zombies move up a little bit towards the tribesmen again. They don't charge this time, they just move forward 4 inches. And everything else is pretty much right where it's at. There's not a whole lot of movement left in the game. There's a better picture of the Shrieking Horror slamming into my Bruisers, and I know that's trouble, but the hope here is to kill off the Barrow Knights before this unit can be destroyed by the Shrieking Horror. We'll see. There's a better picture of both massive units of Skeleton Warriors slamming into my Ogre units, and man, did we come on the wrong side of the damn river. And there's a better picture of his Ghouls failing a charge into Tremendous. Not that it would have been a huge big deal, but charge, flank, rank possibly, and God only knows how many wounds. I might have had a real problem there. Luckily, it's not one I have to deal with now. And there's a better picture of that undead altar pulsing, killing off the Kin Eater, and good riddance to bad rubbish, and the saber-toothed tiger. And that's fine. I'm not thrilled about it, but that's fine because that thing has more than made up its points in this game. I'm very surprised and pleased with the saber-toothed tiger. During the magic phase, my opponent gets Dance Macabre off the aura one, so like the skeletons, the Undead Altar, the Barrow Knights, and the Shrieking Horror are I think they get to reroll failed to hits now. Also, his unit champion with the lore attribute comes back into the Barrow Knights, so awesome. But in order to cast that spell, it was overwhelming power. He only used 3 dice, but it's still strength 5, and it hits exactly where you see. And after the smoke clears, it actually does a lot more damage to me than it does to him. I lose a Bruiser, he loses his unit champion. Yes, it just, when we rolled against the unit champion, he's the only one that failed, so... So he stood up just to fall back down. During the shooting phase, that damn Shrieking Horror screams at Rufus and does 4 wounds to him. Didn't kill him, that's his ass. Simple as that. And then we go into combat, and my dice decided now is the time to fail me. I think I was able to slip one wound through on his Vampire Lord. I did nothing to the unit. I did nothing to the Shrieking Horror. My BSB took a wound. I lost 2 bruisers, and one's got 2 wounds on him. Awful, awful combat for me. I lose this combat. I think I need like a 3 to stay if I don't auto-break. I think I might have auto-broke. I roll to see who I flee from because nobody's got ranks, and everyone's about even. So we end up fleeing away from the Shrieking Horror. The Barrow Knights stand their ground. They do not pursue. The Shrieking Horror pursues and catches my BSB and my bruisers, no problem, and everything ends up right like that. So what was looking like a really good point secure moment turned into a really good rout. And the loss of my BSB, that sucks. Well played by my opponent, but damn. Over here, my general's unit with the tribesmen do much, much better. Granted, it wasn't as difficult of an opponent, but I end up killing off like 20 of the skeletons. I win this combat res and everything like that. Like 20 plus skeleton warriors die. Just squish. I end up losing one of my, tribesmen in return. And we're still there after all is said and done, but it's really going well for me over here. Over here, my mercenary veterans do just as well, maybe a little bit better. I probably take out closer to 30 of these guys, give or take 5. And I lose 1 merc vet for my trouble. I win this combat. It doesn't overly matter because there's so many skeletons. But it's going in the right direction over here as well, and I feel pretty confident about the outcome of these particular combats. Then over here, the Rock reminds me why this charge was a terrible, terrible idea. Not that it was mine. He failed a frenzy check and had to go in. He takes 2 more wounds. He loses by 2. He's stubborn and he sticks, but my damn rider wasn't able to do anything else to the ethereal units. Because how's he supposed to do? I mean, the guy's got a 2-up ward against everything that they throw at him, so I'm just hoping the Rock can last another couple of turns. You know what I mean? Here's some good news, though. The Mammoth Hunter was able to finish off the Varakalok, or whatever it is, the Vargulf-looking thing. He's dead now, and that's awesome. I think it's my turn next, which means this guy's got a date with those bats. Last but not least, Lord Tremendous does his best Bill Murray impression, and Peter Venkman's the crap out of 2 or 3 more Spirit Hosts without taking a wound. I'm not out of the combat yet, but soon this house will be clean. So with that all done, we go over here to top of 5 after movement, and it's top of 5. I need points. So Baby Rufus charges in with the general's unit, hits the side of the skeleton warriors, and is in now. He's going to do as much as he can to cull this unit as quick as he can. With a little bit of luck, it'll go as well as it did against the Beauregard or whatever, and I can overrun and possibly clip his shrieking horror. If not, well, I'm probably screwed. Rufus goes into the shrieking horror that did 4 wounds to him last turn because he's got a bone to pick with that guy. Har har. The tribesmen on the right there next to the house, they charge into the zombies because, you know what? Points is points. Here's a quick little funny story. My opponent asked where the Demon Heart was in my list because he knew I took one. I always take one. And he's right. I have one. Kaka Shabadu had it on the right side there up against the wall. So I look at my list just to make sure I'm not wrong. And I said, yeah, Kaka Shabadu has it. Oh my God. So this whole time, Kaka Shabadu's had the screaming friggin' swords on him. Magic weapons. This whole time, I could have charged him into the damn house and helped out the Rock. That's how little I can remember of what I actually have in my army because there's so much on the table. So I realized it at my opponent. If he had not asked what a demonic heart was, I never would have remembered the damn swords, never would have charged him in. So I charge his unit into the house to fight these damn banshees that are in there that have been beating the crap out of my Rock. It's probably too late, but screw it, I might as well. So yeah, leave it to me, right? Other than that, the rest of my stuff moves up. The damn Tusker Cav are still way out of position, and that's completely my fault. I got nowhere to put them. I've got such a roadblock in front of me. I got nowhere to go. I got nothing to do. The tribesman that ran from the Burrow Knights earlier, he still flees. He goes through the scraplings right there, and they pass their panic check. I couldn't believe it. I thought I was going to have a chain reaction, friggin' panic off the table type of thing going on. And no, their leadership with the foreman was like a 7, and I rolled a 6. It was amazing, and there was a foreman in there. So, yeah, super pleased about that. Not that they've done anything this game, but hey, at least they're denying points, and I'll take what I can get. Other than that, the only other significant thing that really happens is the bombardiers are finally out of the ruins and might be able to shoot at something before the game is over. That's it for my movement. There's a better picture of the 3 main combats going on. Rufus slamming into the Shrieking Horror, and Baby Rufus slamming into the General's combat, and hopefully that helps push the tide in my favor. There's a better picture of my tribesmen slamming into the zombies, and like I said, points is points. And there's a better picture of Makaka Shabadu charging with his unit to hopefully save the Rock's life. There's a better picture of my Mammoth Hunter slamming into the bats, because they've got to die. Nothing happens in my magic phase, so I go into my shooting phase, and the damn thunder cannon that I fire misfires 1, and can no longer shoot for the rest of the game. I know it's still a chariot, but it's like turn 5. What are the odds I'm going to be able to get this damn guy in combat? So he's basically useless. Now he's just points denial, but it's still frustrating as hell. Yet again, the Scratapult, targeting one unit of zombies, deviates into the zombies that I charge with my tribesmen. I can't stop it. It's going to hit something. It's just not what I'm aiming for. When the dust settles, 8 more zombies are not getting up and washed away down the river, which is good. 8 less zombies for my tribesmen to have to cut through. And then my other cannon fires and brings the green Shrieking Horror up to 4 wounds, which is good because now he's got to heal it before he can scream and do any real damage with it. So it's, you know, at least one of the cannons is reliable. I do appreciate that. So my scraplings most of them are in range to fire at the Shrieking Horror. They do, and believe it or not, the little bastards are able to slip 1 wound through on the Shrieking Horror, which not really worth it for their point cost, but it is pretty funny that it happened. With the shooting all done, we go over to combat, and Lord Tremendous is able to exorcise the house. It is now clean. All hail him. In combat over here, my Kakashabadu is able to do a decent amount of damage. All but one of the Banshees die, and that one's almost dead. It's got 1 wound left. In return, though, they were able to do 3 wounds to Kakashabadu, almost killing him. He's only got 1 wound left. But the Rock survived. Kakashabadu's got Path of Butchery. If he can survive 1 more round of combat, I can heal him. So this is finally turning around. Had I only realized that he had magical attacks earlier, this would have been a lot less of a problem. And then over here, I mean, were you surprised? The tribesmen with my Great Shaman are able to do a ton of damage to the zombie unit and basically take it down to about 1/3 of its former strength. And that's exactly what I want them to do. Combat over here takes a little bit of a turn. I flub. I don't do much damage to this unit. Maybe 10, which, considering I have 20 attacks, isn't terrible. Rufus is right there. I'm striking before anybody. However, they fire back and kill 2 of my man-eaters. They did a lot of wounds. I don't win this combat by much, and I've only got 2 man-eaters left with really nothing in place to countercharge and help them out. So I've really got to hope that the 2 remaining man-eaters are enough to finish this unit off, and I don't think it is. Really don't think it is. Combat over here goes pretty well, though. Another big chunk of the Skeleton Warriors die. I lose 1 tribesman from my trouble, and I think Rufus Jr. is fine. I think he took that wound from dangerous terrain checks when he hit that forest. Not 100% on that. At tops, though, he's got 1 wound on him. So, all in all, this combat's going well. The problem is I was hoping it would go a lot better because I'm a greedy bastard. And now I've got a Shrieking Horde that's about to charge Rufus Jr. and probably scream him to death. Eh, well, give and take. Here, though, Rufus. Oh, do I love Rufus. He obliterates the remaining wounds. I think he only had 4 wounds left. on the Shrieking Horror. Kills it. I was going to overrun, but I would have ended up in the forest, and that wouldn't have helped me at all. He does take a wound for his trouble. He's only got one left, but he turns to face my opponent's general and the zombie unit, making it so that if he doesn't do a lot of attention to Rufus and kill him, I'm going to get in there, I'm going to smash his character, and even if Rufus dies afterwards, his general's dead, and that would be huge. And then, of course, the Mammoth Hunter is able to kill all but one unit of swarms with combat res and everything like that, which just absolutely fantastic. So we go over here to the bottom of 5 after movement, and things are starting to get a little tight. We both realize we need as many points as we can because this is a close-ass game. So his Shrieking Horror on the left flank charges into Baby Rufus and makes it. The green Shrieking Horror runs over to help finish off Rufus because he does not want me charging into his general's unit. And the rest of his stuff just kind of moves around. He doesn't have a whole lot of really great charges. Just kind of like doing some support things. He's really run out of stuff. On the right flank there, the ghouls charge Lord Tremendous because it was either they charge me or I charge him, and they make it. And everything else is basically where you see it. Just not a lot of stuff left to do. There's a better picture of his ghouls slamming into Lord Tremendous, and I can't blame him for doing that. There's a better picture of his Shrieking Horror slamming into Baby Rufus, and that's probably going to spell the end for him. During the magic phase, he gets Dance Macabre off on his skeleton unit against my general's unit, allowing him to reroll failed to hits, I believe. And then right behind that, he's able to get Mockery of Life off on them, allowing them to reroll failed to wounds. He also heals 2 wounds off of the Shrieking Horror with that, I think. Then right here, after stopping some of his other spells, I was just out of dice, and he like one dices this. No, he does a few dice at the 12-inch bubble. He heals a wound off his Banshee. He brings up the Bat Swarms. He brings the ghouls back up, and I think the zombies in the back there might have been affected as well, and a handful of them come back. So that's not great, and if I can finish off this damn Banshee this turn, I'm going to turn my tribesman to go after his Necromancer that thought he would be clever and cast that spell and beat him to death. So during the shooting phase, the Shrieking Horror screams at Rufus and murders him. I think he did like 3 or 4 wounds to him total and just completely take him out of the picture. That sucks, but Rufus did very well, and I'm still very fond of him. He'll be back. Over here in combat, it's just as bad. Rufus Jr. completely flubs everything. My general's unit takes a beating. I did kill a decent amount of the skeleton warriors, but they killed a decent amount of the tribesmen. As you can see, all that's left is the unit champion, and he's got 1 wound left. The Shrieking Horror didn't take any wounds at all. I think it's got 1 wound from earlier when the Scrapling shot at him. And Rufus Jr. gets just exploded by the scream, which really, really sucks. I think I lose his combat by a couple. I stay, but it still really sucks. The battles are starting to turn on me a little bit. Over here, I take no wounds. I do a decent amount of damage. There's still 20 skeletons left after all is said and done, but I'm feeling pretty confident that my 2 remaining man-eaters can handle this. Not that I really have a choice in the matter. There's no backup coming. Over here, yes, my tribesmen are able to finish off the zombies, securing me like 100 points, which is good. Every little bit helps at this point. Over here, not that great. The Mammoth Hunter is running out of steam. I was able to put all but 1 Bat Swarm down again because they came back after the spell last turn, or last phase. And he takes a wound for his trouble, so he's about half strength. Not terrible, but he's up against Bat Swarms. Just, ugh. So we're still there, but we're still friggin' there. Over here in combat, Lord Tremendous does a number to these ghouls, and if it hadn't been for that damn invocation spell, the ghouls would have been obliterated. Instead, the ghouls are able to slip a wound through on me, and they stay right there. So another turn wasted on chaff. Not that that's not his job. It's just I'm feeling the points crunch happening, and I know I need to get more, and this isn't helping. Right here, though, my opponent, in my opinion, makes a mistake. Instead of directing his attacks at Kakashabadu, he goes after the unit. He does pop a guy, but in return, Kakashabadu is able to do 2 wounds and destroy the Banshee, the last remaining Banshee, which is outstanding. 5 butt-naked heroes dead is awesome. My Rock turns to face the left. My Tribesman turned to face that Necromancer that dared to cast Invocation near me, and hopefully I can get some righteous revenge in a turn. So here we are at the top of 6. We're almost to the end, guys and gals. Just bear with me a little bit longer. I charge everywhere. On the right flank there, my Tribesman with Kakashabadu charge into the Necromancer on a steed just to kill him off and gather up some points. In the middle there, my Tribesman with my Great Shaman that just took out the zombies charge another brick of zombies. The Man-Eaters that with the brace of pistols charge into the Skeleton Warriors to save my other unit of Man-Eaters who are down to 2, and then the Bombardiers take a long-distance charge, slamming into the Skeleton Warriors, hopefully saving my General and his unit before that all goes, ass backwards. But for the most part, the rest of my stuff is stuck. Just done a really poor job with movement. My bad. The Tusker Cav are going to be completely useless this game. My Giant was completely useless. The Combustor moves up, and he's going to try to fire off some spells into the Shrieking Horror, maybe get lucky. My cannon on the left flank there is going to try to shoot at whatever is available. Same with the Scraplings. And the coolest thing that happened this turn, the Tribesman that was fleeing and was almost off the table after fleeing from the Barrow Knights rallied on a 3. What a flippin' champion he is. Now, to end this on a down note, though, this is top of 6. Lady Elizabeth did not come in on the board, which means she died en route and just gave up 90 points to my opponent. Oh, Elizabeth, why have you forsaken me? There's a better picture of the Bombardiers slamming into the Skeleton Warriors, and I hope it's enough. And there's a better picture of the Tribesmen rallying. Wow, I mean, that picture really shows you just how close he was to being off the table. Couldn't be happier about that. And here's a better picture of the Tribesmen slamming into the zombies, and the other unit of Merc Vets slamming into the Skeleton Warriors. Hopefully that all works out as well. And here's a better picture of a little revenge charge on this damn guy that cast Invocation last turn. He's going to die horribly. During the magic phase, I get +1 strength off on this unit. Mainly, I wanted to get that off so I could heal a wound off of Kakashabadu and not give up half points for him at the end of the game. And then over here, nothing else happens in Magic. We go over to shooting, and the Thunder Cannon, the one on my left flank, the only one that still works, fires at the green Shrieking Horror and blows it to pieces. I do, I think, 5 wounds to it or something like that. D3+2 because it's a flyer. That was amazing. Really got to think about maybe adding a Thunder Cannon to my usual 2,500 point list too. A lot of things. I could see the 2,500 point list taking some serious rewrites soon. So now we go over here into combat, and it goes pretty well thanks to the Bombardiers. As you can see, it doesn't go great. The General's unit of Tribesmen is dead. The unit champion takes his last wound and eats it. And 2 Bombardiers die. The Skeleton Warriors really fought to the last man. However, when we got to strike back, we were able to evaporate the unit. The Bombardier unit overruns into the Shrieking Horror just to keep it from screaming at my General and killing him. I figure maybe they can deal with it. I know the Barrow Knights are going to go into their flank, but to be perfectly honest, I'd rather lose the Bombardiers than my General. And then my General turns to face either his General's unit or the Undead Altar, or both if they decide to come in after me. So yeah, that combat kind of worked out in my favor. Over here, thank God, my mercenary veterans, I lose 1 more from the Storm of Retribution. However, the other unit of Merc Vets are able to help finish off the Skeleton Warriors and pop them completely with combat res and everything, which is awesome. They overrun. I was hoping to hit the Cadaver Wagon, and I fell an inch short. The other unit, or I'm sorry, the one remaining Merc vet from the Storms of Retribution turns to face the zombie unit with the general in it, just in case they try to pick up those last few points. Combat over here, impact hits alone, take care of this damn Necromancer, and good riddance. How dare he? How dare he? And then over here, my Rick Grimes unit of friggin' tribesmen continue to add to their pile of corpsed zombies, or zombie corpses, or corpse zombie corpses. Whatever it is, I kill a boatload of zombies, and I take like 1 wound for my trouble. Pretty good trade. Over here, the Mammoth Hunter finally beats down all the bats. They don't get back up, and he's just thrilled to be done with those things. Damn rats with wings. However, I do see the zombie unit in front of him ready to countercharge him next turn. I know that could be bad, but I'm thinking that maybe the Mammoth Hunter could handle it. We'll see. So over here, Lord Tremendous finishes off the ghouls. However, he almost died. If I had failed one more save, Lord Tremendous would be dead, and the ghouls would be laughing over his broken corpse, which would have truly, truly sucked. As it is, he took 2 more wounds and is at 3 out of 4. So I need to be a lot more careful with him for another turn, or half a turn anyway, in order to preserve half of his points. He did some work for me this game, he really did, and he almost paid for it with his life, but what a trooper, he's stuck in there. So here we are in bottom of 6 after movement, and there's a little bit. On the right flank, the zombies did charge my Mammoth Hunter, and that's probably a good move. And that's on the left flank there, his Burrow Knights charge into the flank of my Bombardiers and make it, and that's probably going to spell the end for them. His Undead Altar pulses, hits my general and does 2 wounds to him, and hits the Bombardier unit and does 4 wounds to them, 3 or 4 wounds to them. So that could have been a lot worse too, but I'll take what I can get. You know, at least my general didn't die. In fact, he's not even at half wounds, so that's really good. Other than that, some of his stuff just kind of shimmies around a little bit, but very unaggressive charges, so I guess I can understand that. There's a better picture of his altar pulsing and putting a couple of wounds on my general and killing a bombardier. And there's a better picture of a swarm of zombies herding around my Mammoth Hunter, which could be bad for him. And there's a better picture of the Burrow Guard slamming into my Bombardiers. During the magic phase, he gets Invocation off on this unit and is able to summon up a lot of them. I don't remember exactly how many. I think it's like 4 or 5. But as you can see, this unit has gotten quite large since the last time we saw them, which was just a second ago when they charged this unit. He gets another spell off on his Burrow Knights, able to bring, I think, 1 or 2 more back with that. I'm not 100% on it, and make them even better in combat. Not that my Bombardiers had much hope after the last spell. And then we go into combat, and it's pretty bad. The Bombardiers get obliterated, and they don't do anything. They did save my general, but they gave their lives to do it. And you know what? With my feelings towards Bombardiers, so be it. So be it. Then over here, my Mammoth Hunter is exhausted. He flubs terribly. He kills 2 zombies. They don't do any damage to him, but charge in 3 ranks to 2 zombies dead. He loses by 2. I think he had a banner in this unit too, so we might have won by 3. I needed a 6 to stay, and I roll like a 10. So, yeah, the Mammoth Hunter, after doing some good work, did get pulverized by a unit of zombies. Rick Grimes would be disappointed. Yeah, the resulting panic checks from the Bombardiers dying and from the Mammoth Hunter dying, everyone passed their panic check. My Mammoth Hunter broke, the zombies pursued, and I think the Mammoth Hunter ran 4 inches, the zombies ran 5 and caught him, so... Oh well, can't win them all. And then in our final combat of the game, my Rick Grimes tribesmen take out a ton of the zombies. Not enough to vape the unit, but enough to definitely let the unit know who their daddy is. We take like no wounds in return. So there's what the table looks like at the end of the game, guys. This is it. This is the end of the game. As you can see, there are a lot of ogres on the table, and but not nearly as many as there were in deployment. And same with the undead. It looks pretty favorable for me, I got to be honest. But God, you can see so many mistakes made in this game, and it's really embarrassing. But at the same time, a ton of fun. I mean, I haven't gotten to play a game this big in years, especially one-on-one. Usually when you play a game like this, there's like 4 people on each side, and the game takes 15 hours to play. As it was, this game took us about 9 hours, but every single minute of it was a blast. And I can't wait to get into the damn recap. So, you know what? We're not even going to waste any time. We're going to go right into it, and Captain Picard's going to set us on our way.
Make it so.
So in the end of the game, guys, it was a victory for Lord Tremendous. I pulled it off. I got 4,816 points out of him. He got 2,974 out of me for a difference of 1,842. I lost my Khan, my Hunter, half of my Lord Tremendous, 1.5 units of Tribesmen, my Bruisers, all of my Trappers, 1 Saber-Toothed Tiger, half of my unit of Storm of Retribution, my Merc Vets, all my Bombardiers, all my Yetis, all my Kin Eaters, because Lady Elizabeth decided not to come on the damn table. Rufus Jr., and I lost half points for my Rock. There might not even be a victory party for this game. It might just be a trip to the local ER. This game took everything I had, and I lost track of everything. I'm not even going to try to say otherwise. Totally misplaced the Bombardiers and the Tusker Calf. Should have had them up front at the 12-inch mark, ready to go forward, and instead, both of those units were in reserves. The worst possible deployment I could have given for them. The Thunder Cannons and the Saber Tigers really surprised me. I didn't realize how good cannons could be, and the Saber Tiger was amazing, helping out with the Knights, taking out a Necromancer all by himself. Couldn't believe it. My Merc Vets, those units in close combat. The Storm of Retribution, I don't know how people play without them. The Brace of Pistols is nice and all, but Iron Fist with Lethal Strike and Thunder's Charge, I charge that into anything. Bring it on. Oh man, they pretty much won me the game, and I thank them for it. There were a couple of firsts in this game for me too. This is the first game I've ever played where Lord Tremendous actually failed a stupidity check. Leadership 9, he's usually pretty reliable, but he failed one this game, and it really threw off my game. Elizabeth never came on the table. The other 2 Kin Eaters did, they died, but Elizabeth never showed up and gave up her points without a fight. That was unheard of. The Scratapult, that did really well, but it was completely by accident. In a regular game, it would have missed all game. Like I said before, the Thunder Cannons are really cool. I'm really considering throwing one in my 2,500 point list if I can figure out where to put it. And I'm starting to have a real respect for Tribesmen. Very impressed with how much damage they can put out and mitigate. I mean, parry's broken. I'm going to go on record right now and say it. Parry is broke as hell and needs to be fixed. But as it sits right now, it makes my Tribesmen ungodly. And borderline elite. I'm going to say it. You heard it here. I'm not going to deny it. Parry, I think, needs a nerf. Bruisers did not impress me yet again. They were able to crack some armor, but it's just they can't charge into the combats like Tribesmen do. So, again, something I'm considering for my 2,500 point army. Learned a lot about the undead as well, the Vampire Coven anyway. The undead altar thing was brutal. What a pain in the ass that thing was. I thought I had it, and then it started pulsing, giving everything regen and damage, D6 wound or hits. It was something else. Barrow Knights are no joke. Those things are terrifying, and I wish I had given them more respect and attention early in the game. Shrieking Horrors still haunt my dreams, day, night, and wet, so yeah, just terrifying. And there was so much infantry on the table. I was actually, if it hadn't been for my mercenary veterans and just the amount of attacks they can put out, I never would have been able to come close in this game. That's really what pushed me over the top, and I'm grateful I took so many. And of course, that unit of 5 Banshees, the hero choices all together in that house, completely bogged down my right flank the entire game. Yes, had I remembered that these Screaming Swords were on Kakashabadu, it would have changed things. But honestly, more than likely, Kakashabadu would have just gotten killed, and I'd have been in the same boat had I charged in any sooner. Really crazy, but learned a lot about how to deal with the vampires, and that hopefully will help me in the future. But yeah, guys, this was an absolutely epic game. I don't know if you were paying attention or not over the past hour and a half or so, but yeah, it was a phenomenally fun game. Terrific opponent, absolutely terrific opponent. Couldn't ask for a better one even if I tried. And it was so cool to see all those models on the table, even unpainted. I know they weren't all painted and some proxies and stuff, but still, this was really cool. And but next time we do it, more stuff will be painted, more stuff will be, less stuff will be proxied. It's gonna be amazing. And I look forward to being able to do these every few months or something like that. Just a big epic throwdown like this. And you know what? It's one of those things where it's like your birthday or a holiday or something like that. When you get to do it and it's outside of the norm, it's really memorable. It sticks with you, and I think that sums this game up perfectly. It was very memorable. But yeah, guys, real quick, want to say a fast thank you to the people that allow me to thank them on my channel, that support me on Patreon and through PayPal and stuff like that. Thank you guys very much. Alex of the Vale Renegades, South Florida's Gamermancy team, and Daniel Jolson. Thank you guys so much. And to everybody else that supports me financially through things that won't let me put their name on these slides, thank you guys very much too. I appreciate it so very much. Thanks to your tips and stuff like that. Once a month I'm buying new ogre models so that my army is actually full of ogres as opposed to Stormcast Eternals and stuff, which I know a lot of people dislike. So soon, thanks to my supporters and stuff like that, my army is going to become more and more ogre-y. So that's good, right? That's what everybody wants. And you know what? Screw it. I get to buy more models. What do I care? But yeah, seriously thank you very much. I appreciate everybody, whether you support me financially or not, but these individuals are helping my hobby, and for that I am very grateful. But that's gonna do it, guys. I am friggin' exhausted. This battle report was awesome. Battle report number 26. 14,000 points of models on the table, and I bring it to you, and now we lay it to rest in the history books for all time, or until YouTube gets attacked and destroyed. Whatever comes first. Oh man, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're not in the 9th Age by now, I don't know why. If this battle report didn't push you over the edge to go and get a handful of models to play with your friends, then well, I'm sorry, I failed you, and I'll try again in battle report number 27. Go, if you are interested, to the 9thage.com and check out all the rules and army books and everything. It's all completely free, it's all completely awesome, and your life will be better by checking it out. But I'm done here, guys. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. But yeah, guys, thanks.